17th April, 1945. A rain-soaked field outside Heilbronn, Germany. 18-year-old nurse Lena Vogel pressed herself into a shell crater, uniform torn, mud caked on her face. Blood streaked her cheek. Her unit had surrendered days ago, and she had been hiding in freezing rain, praying no one would find her. Every sound, the crunch of boots, the snap of broken branches, made her flinch. Suddenly, a patrol emerged from the fog, rifles raised. Lena's chest hammered. One soldier, a young corporal named Vinnie Rossi, 22, Italian-American, stepped forward. He muttered broken German, but Lena didn't hear him. She screamed, voice cracking, "Bitte, don't kill me!" Vinnie's rifle rose instinctively, but then his eyes met hers, wide with terror. Slowly, he lowered it. Step by step, he approached. Lena's legs froze. She squeezed her eyes shut, expecting death. Then came a sudden rip of fabric. She gasped. Vinnie hadn't raised his hand to strike. He had pulled open the back of her torn jacket. A festering shrapnel wound glared back at them, green and swollen. She gagged, stomach twisting. "Madonna mia!" Vinnie swore in Italian. He yelled for the medic. In minutes, a field medic arrived, hands already coated in antiseptic. Lena shook, half from fever, half from disbelief. The medic dropped to his knees, hands moving fast, pouring antiseptic over the infected wound. The stench made Lena gag. Morphine dulled the pain, but her body still trembled uncontrollably. Rain dripped from her hair, mixing with mud and blood, a grim cocktail of misery. Vinnie didn't move away. Mud caked his boots, sleeves torn, eyes scanning constantly. "We're not leaving you here," he said, voice low but firm. Lena tried to speak, voice hoarse and broken. He shook his head. "Save it. Stay with me." They lifted her carefully. Each step across the rain-soaked field sent jolts of agony through her shoulder. Her arms felt like lead. Every heartbeat was a drum counting down the seconds. Behind them, distant artillery rolled like thunder, the sound of a world still bent on destruction. Then something impossible. The moment she expected death to become a lifeline. Vinnie's presence, the medic's careful hands, humanity in the middle of chaos kept her tethered to life. Each small gesture, a hand on her arm, a steadying touch, felt monumental. Her chest rose and fell, shallow at first, then deeper. Hope, fragile but real, threaded through fear, like sunlight piercing storm clouds. She realized survival was no longer a gamble. Someone had chosen to fight for her life. The field hospital came into view, a cluster of white canvas tents flapping in the wind. Lena's legs felt like jelly. Her fever made every step a torment. Rain soaked through her uniform, mud and blood congealing into heavy clumps. Each jolt sent stabbing pain through her shoulder, but the medic and Vinnie refused to slow. Inside the tent, the medics moved with frenetic efficiency. Morphine dulled her screams, sulfa powder burned like fire on her wound, and surgical instruments glinted under dim lantern light. Every sound, the snap of scissors, the hiss of antiseptic spray, was amplified in her fevered haze. Vinnie stayed close, mud still caked on his boots, hand resting lightly on her arm. He didn't speak. The silence between them carried more comfort than words could. Lena's eyes met his once. In that glance, she understood something extraordinary. A soldier who could have killed her had instead chosen to save her, risking himself in the process. Hours passed like days. Pain, fear, and exhaustion became a haze. But through it all, Lena felt something she hadn't in weeks. Life. Real, raw, fragile life. Each small movement by the medics, each small touch from Vinnie, wove a thread she clung to desperately. By the time the surgery ended, Lena had survived what should have been her last morning. Her eyes fluttered open to see Vinnie, still sitting by her cot, mud-streaked and weary, watching over her like a guardian. Days turned into weeks. Lena lay in a cot under a thin blanket, body battered but alive. Her shoulder ached constantly, a reminder of how close she had come to death. Fever had broken, but weakness remained. Every movement was painful, every breath a small victory. Vinnie never left her side for long. Muddy boots, jacket still torn from the field, he'd slump in the chair beside her bed, keeping watch. Small gestures became monumental. A brush of hair from her forehead, steadying her trembling hand, a whispered joke that made her laugh through tears. The medics monitored her wound, cleaned it, bandaged it, and reminded her that survival wasn't luck, it was deliberate. And yet, even as she healed physically, Lena realized the most important thing wasn't medicine. It was the human choice to save her, to fight for her life when all else seemed lost. One morning she opened her eyes to find Vinnie holding a small, crumpled piece of paper, a note from the medic detailing her recovery progress. She smiled weakly. "You tore my coat," she whispered. He flushed, scratching his neck. "To save you, not whatever else you think." She laughed, weak, painful, but real. It was the first time in weeks she felt human again, the first time she believed life could continue beyond fear. Months later, Lena walked with a cane, each step a reminder of the day she should have died. The war's echoes had faded, replaced by ruined streets and tentative peace, but life was hers to reclaim. Vinnie visited every weekend, muddy boots and all. He brought small gifts, letters, and jokes that made her laugh despite the lingering pain. One day he arrived carrying a small box. Lena opened it to find a sky-blue dress, folded neatly, vibrant as spring. "I tore your coat once to save you. Now, can I give you something new for life ahead?" Lena's chest tightened. Tears blurred her vision. This wasn't just a dress. It was hope, trust, and a promise that life could continue after terror. She nodded, voice breaking, and accepted it. For the first time she laughed freely, real laughter that echoed down the hospital hall. Rain streaked the windows as he helped her over the threshold, careful with her leg. Every step forward was a triumph, every gesture a symbol. Survival wasn't just about the body, it was about the humanity that carried her through. Objects, moments, small acts, they weren't trivial. They were proof that life could endure, even in the darkest times. 17th April, 1995, Stuttgart, Germany. Dawn spread pale light over the quiet cemetery. Lena, now 69, walked slowly with her cane, clutching a small cloth bag. She paused at a familiar grave, worn for decades but still cared for. Her fingers trembled as she opened the bag. Inside lay the sky-blue dress she had worn all those years ago, folded neatly, still vibrant. Gently, she draped it across the gravestone like a blanket. Then she revealed a second relic, a preserved scrap of her old uniform, the piece Vinnie had torn open to reveal her wound that fateful day. Encased in glass, it carried all the terror, the courage, and the act of humanity that had saved her life. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "You saved me. I've carried this with me every April for 50 years. She pressed a trembling kiss to the stone, tears flowing freely, echoes of the relief and gratitude she had felt decades earlier. A groundskeeper watched from afar, moved by the quiet ritual. Lena rose slowly, saluted in the American style, and walked away. The blue dress remained draped over the grave, catching rain, wind, and sun, enduring through time. Every 17th of April thereafter, a blue ribbon and a single red rose appeared on the grave. No one ever saw who placed them. Only Lena returned, touching the stone, smiling faintly, remembering the 18-year-old girl saved by a single act of courage. Some moments are more than memories. They are lifelines. Some acts of humanity echo for decades, proving that even when death is expected, life can prevail, vivid and unforgettable.